Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing News.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Q&A series with the IBFP. And today's question comes from Charlie Day. Why did Tyson Fury duck Dillian Whyte? So we're going to break that down, and we get right into Tyson Fury ducking Dillian Whyte and the evidence and the proof to confirm, and indeed it did happen. Tyson Fury had agreed to fight Dillian Whyte over a year ago for the Diamond belt, which was a multi-million-dollar payday. And instead, Tyson Fury, after he agreed, he backed out, called Whyte a bum, and ended up facing another bum. So we understand that Tyson Fury absolutely ducked Dillian Whyte, and there's the proof. On the other end, we also see that Deontay Wilder also ducked Dillian Whyte. He ducked him up for a matter of years, but he also sent him, direct text messages and emails basically stating that, hey, I can keep avoiding you for the next 2 years without even having to fight you. That is probably one of the most blatant and obvious ducks we've ever seen. And, there's a couple of reasons why both of these guys ducked Dillian Whyte. One is styles. You see Tyson Fury's been dropped by multiple bums, but he always got up and won the fight. And the reason why he did is because they're bums. They don't have the ability to finish or close the show, or otherwise they would not be bums. Dillian Whyte is not a bum. Dillian Whyte has the ability to close the show, seriously hurt them, and get the victory. Stylistically, he's a bad matchup for Tyson Fury. You have to understand, a guy who can bring pressure and a lethal body attack is a nightmare for Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury have not faced a guy with that particular style. And so that would be a massive problem for Tyson Fury. Whether you believe Dillian Whyte can win the fight or not, we understand that if Otto Wallin can give him a hard fight, you got to imagine that Dillian Whyte can give him hell for 12 rounds at least. Then when you look at Deontay Wilder, you also see that the style would be a matchup problem for him as well. Luis Ortiz, almost a 50-year-old man, came very close to knocking out Deontay Wilder, hurting him. He just simply didn't have the power or stamina either to be able to seriously finish the job. But Dillian Whyte is in his prime. He has the power that's proven. He has the stamina that's proven. And so, you see Dillian Whyte is a much better fighter than Luis Ortiz. And we already know stylistically Deontay Wilder cannot fight going backwards. And that's exactly what Dillian Whyte's going to do, break him down bit by bit. And whether you believe he wins or loses, we understand that Wilder loses the majority of his rounds to everybody. So Dillian Whyte will definitely have an opportunity to knock Deontay Wilder out. And so that would be a stylistic nightmare for Deontay Wilder as well. Even you see guys like Andy Ruiz. This is the same reason, the reason why they ducked Dillian Whyte is the same reason Ruiz ducked it. Think about it like this. Andy Ruiz was offered over $4 million coming off a loss in a pay-per-view payday, and yet he's looking to face a guy like Chris Arreola instead of Dillian Whyte. That shows you he simply doesn't want to smoke with Dillian Whyte. But why? All of these guys have one thing in common. They don't want to fight Dillian Whyte because he's not worth the risk. He's not a big name. He's not the guy that everybody loves. He's not the most popular fighter. He's not the biggest name fighter. He's going to get you a good payday, but not the biggest payday. So if they lose, they want to lose to each other. Ruiz would be fine with losing to Wilder or vice versa. Same with Tyson Fury. But, these guys don't want to lose to a guy like Dillian Whyte. They simply don't want to lose to a guy, who has the potential to upset them, who would be viewed as an upset win. And, most people write off Dillian Whyte anyway. There's a reason why he's avoided. He's dangerous, and he won't yield you the biggest payday, and he's not going to be a big clout-chasing type of fight. So at the end of the day, it would be a great fight for Dillian Whyte, and stylistically, he'd be a matchup for all of these guys. But they simply won't fight the guy, at least right now, because he's a stylistic matchup. He's not the biggest name in the sport, and he's not going to generate the payday would like. So at the end of the day, even though they would be a good payday, they will look to avoid this guy because he's simply too dangerous, and there's not enough reward for these guys to step in the ring with a guy like Dillian, the body snatcher, Whyte.